It was just before sunrise, and the lake was cloaked in mist, like a veil hiding its secrets. The forest stood in perfect stillness. Tall pines mirrored in the still water, the silence broken only by the crunch of boots on damp soil. An older man, tired eyes cast down, walked with his German shepherd along the edge of the lake. To him, the walk was routine, one of the few rhythms left in a life that had been hollowed out by grief. He didn't expect anything unusual, not today, not ever. But then his dog froze, ears pricked, growling low at something ahead. The man looked up, and what he saw made him stumble back. There, resting half in the shallows and half on the shore, was something impossible. A massive black sphere, unlike anything he had ever seen, its surface etched with strange spirals that seemed to twist and shift when his eyes lingered too long. It looked ancient, otherworldly, as if it didn't belong to this earth, or at least not this time. His heart pounded as he felt both fear and awe rush through him. The shepherd pulled at the leash, eager, insistent, as if urging him forward. "Before I continue, let me ask you something. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the unshakable loyalty of animals, please take a moment to like this video. Share it with a friend, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to our channel, Pawsitive Tales. Stories like this one are created with love to remind us all of the power of hope and connection, and your support means we can keep sharing them with the world." The man's name was David, and though he once had family, now he lived mostly alone. His only companion, the dog by his side, Max. David had lost his wife 2 years ago to illness, and since then the days had blurred together. His children, grown and scattered, called occasionally but rarely visited. It was Max who kept him moving. Max who nudged him out of bed when grief made him want to stay there forever. Max who offered silent understanding without judgment. But this morning, something beyond their small, lonely life had appeared before them. At first, David thought it might be some kind of art installation, maybe even a prank. The sphere was smooth yet patterned, its carvings too perfect for chance. But there was no sign of anyone around. No footprints but his own, no vehicles, no explanation. Max sniffed it cautiously, circling, tail stiff but not tucked. David hesitated, then stepped closer. As he reached out a trembling hand to touch it, the sphere hummed. The sound was low, like the vibration of the earth itself, resonating in his bones. He jerked his hand back, stumbling again. Max barked, but not in fear, in urgency, as though warning him not to run, but to listen. Against every instinct telling him to leave, David lingered. Something about the object pulled at him, stirred something inside that had been buried beneath layers of grief. The spirals seemed to pulse faintly with light, so subtle he wondered if it was just the reflection of dawn. But then he saw it. A thin seam splitting open across the surface, widening slowly like a lid unlocking itself. Inside was not what he expected. Not wires, not machinery, not some terrifying alien form. Instead, nestled within, was a small, trembling creature. It wasn't like any animal he'd seen before. Fragile, covered in soft down, its eyes impossibly large, filled with fear and innocence. It chirped weakly as though calling for help. Max tilted his head, ears perked, and wagged his tail gently. David, still stunned, felt a warmth surge in his chest. The creature wasn't dangerous. It was helpless. Against all logic, David reached in and lifted it out. Its tiny body quivered in his hands, lighter than a bird, yet radiating warmth. Max sniffed it, then licked it softly as if accepting it instantly. For the first time in years, David felt a sense of purpose bloom in him again. He didn't know what this creature was, or why it had appeared inside a sphere by a lake in the middle of nowhere. But he knew one thing with absolute certainty. It needed him. Over the days that followed, David kept the creature safe. He made a small nest for it in his cabin, fed it with bits of fruit and warm milk. Max rarely left its side, standing guard like a loyal sentinel. Slowly the creature grew stronger, its chirps louder, its movements steadier. At night, when David sat in the silence that used to crush him, he now felt the soft weight of Max resting at his feet and the fragile life glowing gently in the basket nearby. For the first time since his wife passed, the cabin didn't feel empty, but with this gift came challenges. Word began to spread in town after a fisherman claimed he'd seen a black orb by the water. Strangers came searching, scientists, reporters, people curious or greedy for answers. David grew afraid, not for himself, but for the fragile being he now cared for. The sphere itself had disappeared back into the water, as though it had never been, but the creature remained. And with every day, it became clearer that it wasn't just surviving, it was changing. Its feathers grew iridescent, shimmering in colors that shifted with the light. Its eyes seemed to reflect more than the world. They seemed to reflect him, his emotions, his pain, and his healing. One night, when the world outside was dark and quiet, David sat with Max and the creature in his lap. He whispered to it the words he had never spoken aloud since his wife's death. He told it of the loneliness, the nights spent staring at the ceiling, the mornings that felt like burdens. He told it how Max had been his only anchor, and as he spoke, the creature leaned closer, pressing against his chest, and he felt something extraordinary, a warmth spreading through him, not physical but deeper, a quiet mending of wounds he thought would never heal. In that moment, David realized that the sphere, the spirals, the impossible mystery, it didn't matter where it came from. What mattered was why it came. Perhaps it was meant to remind him that life always finds a way to offer us a second chance. If we have the courage to take it, weeks turned into months. And though the creature eventually grew strong enough to spread wings, shimmering with impossible light, it never left David's side. It perched near the window, sang with a voice that felt like a balm to the soul, and played with Max in the yard. Strangers stopped searching, the world moved on, and in the quiet of his lakeside cabin, David found something he thought he'd lost forever: hope. And here is where I turn to you, watching this story unfold. If this journey touched your heart, if you believe in the power of love, loyalty, and unexpected second chances, please take a moment to like this video, share it, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to Pawsitive Tales. Every story we share is meant to remind you of the beauty in our world, and your support helps us continue. Before we close, I have one special request. In the comments, write the words, "I believe in second chances." Let's fill the page with hope, with reminders that even in our darkest hours, life can surprise us with light, because sometimes what appears as a mystery by the water isn't just an object. Sometimes it's a gift meant to change a life forever.